Roblox, a game that has thousands of games inside of a game. What was the first ever game that you played on Roblox? It might have been work at a pizza place, or an obby like Speedrun 4, or a goated simulator such as Bee Swarm Simulator, or even a freaky simulator. Here are some Roblox games that you most likely forgot about and haven't played in a freaking long time. So first, let's start off with an absolute classic of a Tycoon if I've ever seen one. Lumber Tycoon 2. Lumber Tycoon 2 started development in May of 2015 when the creator Defaultio got to be a part of Roblox's incubator program where he got to work with Roblox to develop original games. He decided to go back to one of his old games, Lumber Tycoon or Lumber Tycoon 1 from 2008, and thought about what made it so successful. With this information, he made Lumber Tycoon 2 where the player chooses what to do next instead of the button upgrades which every other Tycoon game had. With something as unique and well made as this, it was destined to do well. With the alpha release to the public in July of 2015, it was simply named Test and only had a few players every day. But in August, when it was released to beta, it was finally named Lumber Tycoon 2 and got its iconic icon reaching 10,000 players in a matter of hours. I guess us kids really didn't like nature considering we were all just demolishing trees for our enjoyment. The game still peaks at around 4,000 players every day, but with the further evolution of Tycoon games, there being easier options and simply no recent game updates except for bug fixes, the player count has basically stayed the same for years. Now here is a beautifully crafted classic that I'm sure many of you all played. Natural Disaster Survival was released December 4th, 2011, the day I stubbed my toe, which really freaking hurt. As a round-based survival game with 6 disasters and 8 maps, a bit under half of what it has today. The game was made by Stickmaster Luke, whose avatar name you have seen somewhere no matter when you started playing. Bro even has a freaking Roblox toy of himself, like come on man! Now the interesting part about this game, especially considering its player count, is that it's never actually gotten regular updates. If you take a look at the update log on the wiki, you'll see that it's only gotten 13 updates in its 11 years of being on Roblox. The latest being 2 years ago in April of 2021, and the one before that 5 years ago in June of 2018. For such an old game to still peak at 10,000 players with no new updates is amazing to see. However, because of Stickmaster Luke not making anything new or at least fixing older things in the game like the vehicles, I don't see this game growing in popularity, and it will only grow with the amount of new players joining Roblox. Next up is an absolute beast of a freaking simulator. Bee Swarm Simulator was released on March 23rd, 2018 by the man himself on it. This game single-handedly carried the simulator genre when it released. It was just so freaking unique on God. The idea of progressing to the top of the mountain while doing tons of various quests from literal bears and fighting spiders, scorpions, and a tunnel bear was such a cool concept. The game would see many updates in the first year or two, but as the game got older, on it stopped keeping up with it. The fact that there was always something to work towards and something to do in this game is the reason it just never fell off. If you played this before, you know how much of a grind this game truly has. But on a serious note, we gotta talk about Beesmas, because my man on it got so lazy this year that we just got a Beesmas update in the middle of July. Like, come on, dog, what you doing? The fact that this game still pulls in 90,000 players on average is remarkable, and my man is racking in that dough, if you know what I mean. This has to do with the fact a lot of people cough macro just because of how grindy of a game it actually is. For how long it has lasted, I definitely don't see Bee Swarm Simulator going anywhere anytime soon. Next, let's talk about a game that met a sad ending, getting shut down by Pikachu himself. Pokemon Brick Bronze and its successor, Lumion Legacy. Pokemon Brick Bronze was released as a demo on the 24th of October in 2015 by a couple of developers, but the most recognizable ones being Lando64,000 and T-Brad M. Back then, it was one of the biggest games on Roblox, and the front page getting a couple thousand concurrent players. The story, the gameplay, and the community all really good. Sadly, it was shut down by Pokemon just 2.5 years later after the beta release. Over a year passed until the game known as Lumion Legacy released. It had the same idea as Pokemon, gotta catch them all, but since it wasn't Pokemon you were actually catching and it was all disgusting art though, it didn't feel the same. And now without recent updates, the game only averages around 1,000 players. I don't know how many players that couple of thousand from 2018 would be in today's Roblox, but even a re-upload of Pokemon Brick Bronze is getting around the same amount of players as Lumion Legacy. So you could just imagine how big it would be with proper advertising. Yo guys, I got my Pokeball here. I'm gonna go catch a wild Pikachu who just shot themselves. Let's get this. Yo, got my Pokeball here. Catch it. Catch. Guess I'm gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way. Ah, gotcha. Ah! Now we got the king of roleplay games, if you know what I'm saying. Welcome to Bloxburg, released November 4th of 2014 by the Roblox Games. Roblox. This game was a fan favorite among all the little kids who really enjoyed roleplay. Me personally, I hated it, but I have to talk about it. If you didn't know already, this game takes characteristics of real life and puts them into a game. You work a regular 9 to 5, level up your skills, and even can build your own freaking home. Wow, so incredible. The key to this all is pretending to be an adult with a kid roleplay, just like The Sims, but in Roblox. When this game released, it had an instant hit. Thousands of players flocked into this game. I guess unique kind of game, but overall it was just a simple roleplay concept. Even to this day, you see an average of 40,000 players wanting to build their own home and level up. I don't really have much to say about this game since I never really got into it, but I just knew I had to talk about it, so yeah, I did. Thanks for listening to me rant. Yeah, it's cool, so what, it's role-playing. Now let's move on. On a side note though, why don't you hit that subscribe button right down below? Why don't you just give it a little elbow? Now we have a game with a very interesting story development-wise. Timmeh. Timmeh, made by Wonderworks and Creekcraft, released in beta September 3rd, 2021, being another piggy-inspired game. As you can imagine, this was created because of Creekcraft's character Timmeh being very popular at the time. However, what was not popular was the game. The monster was faster than the player, there was an overwhelming amount of things in the game at the very beginning with no explanation to what they do, like the leveled up Timmeh. Anyway, Chapter 2 came out on the 19th of December, 2021, and was the second and last update the game with Wonderworks half a year later, announcing that Timmeh is discontinued, so it won't receive any more updates. And just by looking at Creekcraft's tweet, the day that Chapter 2 came out, the communication might have been bad, or at least could have been better.
I was like, wait, what? It updated? I had no idea it was going to update today. I literally, y'all ain't going to believe me. Nobody's going to believe me. But I actually had no idea it was going to update today.
Even though I do think Creekcraft is a genuine and amazing creator, I don't think his game turned out the best, even if he did try as hard as he actually did. Utmost respect goes out to this man and his fan base. Good work with even though it didn't wind up successful. Now we have a story game series, Camping. Camping, made by Samsung XVI or Samson, was first getting big in April 2019. The story was interesting and the game was very enjoyable. And not only was it massive on YouTube, but it also had a massive impact on the Roblox story game genre as a whole. A bunch of new story games came out trying to get on the trend, like High School Field Trip and Tiki Island. And also, if you ever see story games joke about a food being poisoned, that's because of camping.
Until you find out one sandwich has been poisoned.
Every story game used this excuse to kill off a player.
Every camping story is the exact same.
Anyway, Samson made 3 new games in 2019 to continue the story. Camping 2, Hotel, and Mansion. All of them being very successful. Samson stopped making the camping games after Mansion in October 2019, and it wasn't until over a year later in December 2020 when he finally made a new story game called Armageddon, which was a pretty big flop. Currently, it only has 2.6 million visits. Then basically half a year later, on June 6, 2021, we got the final camping game, Camping 3. It was nice to see the camping story come to an end, and overall, it was a pretty good game.
But who you will snack on? Wait, what, to me? Oh my god. Look, it even has his little face right there as the picture. That was delicious.
But it has been close to 2 years since the last camping related game, and not only had that taken away a lot of the hype, but Roblox has also evolved. In the story game genre, we had games like Breakthrough, which are much higher quality, but are also a lot more replayable. My favorite videos of this game was whenever DanTDM played it back in the day. For its time, it was something else, and it will truly be missed. Now let's talk about a game that people thought would replace a massive game in the same category, Mad City. Mad City, created by Swifty Studios, cut to the front page in January of 2019, instantly being compared to Jailbreak, with one of the big differences being the addition of superheroes. With the new superhero team as well as many new things to do for some, Mad City became the new #1 Roblox prison game. The fight between Jailbreak and Mad City lasted for a long time, at least with the fans, but still the Jailbreak developer, Asimo and Batsy C or Badima, wouldn't just accept defeat, so they went from monthly to weekly updates to compete. This update schedule lasted for a couple of months until it occasionally went to every 2 or 3 weeks and then back to monthly in September. Mad City got its ups and downs over the next 3 years, but the big thing which ruined the game for a lot of people happened on the 23rd of July 2022. Chapter 2 came out. Live event they made for it was good.
This is crazy.
But what came after, people were not fans of. Usually games after a massive anticipated update like this would get more new players, but just a month after Chapter 2 came out, it had less players than before the update. Chapter 2 simply made the game too different from what it was in Chapter 1. And another example of this happening is for Piggy Book 1 and Piggy Book 2. This was before Chapter 2, but Jailbreak has now taken back the #1 spot for the Roblox prison game genre, at least player count wise. And unless Mad City somehow makes a massive comeback or a crazy good prison game comes out, then this is not changing. Thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure you hit that subscribe button, please. Peace out.